If you have acquired a ton of pretty serious injuries from either working every day of your life or from doing hardcore athletics or both, and you are very interested in continuing to walk well and perform well for the next 50 years, then you should be practicing a stagger stance crossbody swing. I once was in the circus and I ripped my leg in half. My leg went that way. Complete PCL disruption. Probably the strongest ligament in the body. Complete LCL disruption. Popliteus tendon, gone. Meniscus, gone. I had 3 knee surgeries and I did physical therapy for a very long time. The problem with physical therapy is it does not go far enough. They told me that I would never run again, ride horses again, ride mountain bikes again, or do martial arts again, or do circus again. I took that as a personal challenge and I decided to engineer ways to make sure I could do all of those things at or above the level I did when I was actually doing all of that type of stuff before. In order to accomplish that task, you get very interested in doing progressions and doing training properly so that you don't get more hurt and so that you always get better. The exercise we're talking about today is a stagger stance crossbody kettlebell swing. This movement is not a basic movement, not in any way. This is way up in training. This is probably several years post knee surgery for a lot of people. We are going to demonstrate the core movement. Then we're going to talk about how to get to the movement, a bunch of the steps leading up to it. And then we're going to talk about steps after the movement so you know where you are going. Start this exercise with a light weight because doing it wrong will cost you, probably in your spine, probably in your hip. Start with a very light weight. We are going to start 2 feet pointed straight ahead, drop 1 foot straight back. We're pointing our feet straight ahead because that's the way you really should walk and you really should run. If you have knee injuries, ankle injuries, back injuries, and you are not walking and doing everything with your feet pointed generally straight ahead, that is something you can fix. This exercise will help you fix it. We're going to pick up our kettlebell, step back with 1 leg. Our goal is to go across our body frame, instead of outside of our body frame, across our body frame. This is a lot of twist for most people. This is unification of the ankle, the knee, the hip, and the rotation of the spine. This builds into our walking patterns. Think thumb up at the top, thumb back at the bottom. Thumb up, thumb back, thumb up, thumb back, thumb up, thumb back, thumb up, and thumb back. Let's talk about the key coaching points. Key point, front foot points straight ahead. Because we are swinging a weight past this, we want our knee path to be a straight line. If you are turned out, oftentimes people's knee will move left and right. Do not turn out when you're swinging a giant weight crossbody past your knee. Most important thing, base leg, the leg doing the work, pointed straight ahead, knee over ankle. Key thing, as we go down, point the thumb down and back. This helps people straighten out their elbow and twist their spine. We are absorbing force at the bottom. This is a glute exercise for that lead leg. When we stand up, hip snap up. The goal is to try to straighten that leg all the way out. Point the thumb up to drive the shoulder down to engage the lat. Most people will learn this exercise with a heavy club first because a heavy club is 2.5 to 3 inches broad, so there's more room for error. Kettlebells are 8 or 9 inches across, so you have to be technically better with your body positioning in order to not hit yourself in the knee. The goal is to make your knee better, not worse. The reason people will go to kettlebells is they're more available and it's easier to get heavy weights in kettlebells than it is in heavy clubs. With a club, step back, lead foot point straight ahead. Let's get to our straight arm and start working down, back, up, down, back, up, down, back, up, down, back, up. Armored combat fighters wearing 70 pounds of armor will be doing this eventually with a 70-pound kettlebell, not in the beginning. Military guys, whatever your loadout is, you're working on loading, snapping out of that lead leg, making sure you do it equally well on both sides of the body. Firefighters, whatever the weight of your kit, That is your target. For most people, that will take several years. The goal of this movement is to eventually get back to the catch, either a rack or an order position. It will be a push, absorb, down, catch. Push, absorb, down, catch. And then we would eventually add a step. Push, absorb, step, catch. Push, absorb, step, catch. Then eventually we would add another step and maybe a hunter squat. Push, absorb, step, catch. Push, absorb, step, catch. Run through that idea with the kettlebell. The swing, isolate, goes to the rack, goes to the step, goes to the step, step, goes to the step, step, hunter. You should learn this with club. That's probably the best and safest. Then you can learn it with kettlebell, probably more accessible. A lot of people you will see work on this with dumbbell as well. The setup is the same. Feet straight ahead. Step back with one leg. Get across the body, thumb points back. Figure out if you can even do this deadlift first. Push, stand up, push, stand up, push, stand up, push, catch. The dumbbell alignment's a little bit different. They're all a little bit different. That's the point. Step back, load, step, step. People will talk about how they step. That step can be specific to sport. Step, step, load, step, step, hunter. All the way down, vertical alignment, drive up. Step, step, always coming back to the swing, thumb up, thumb down. If you're having trouble with the thumb up, stay thumb down. Thumb down, thumb down, thumb down, until we build into the catch. This exercise is a hip snap. Think of this as a deadlift family of movements. Barbell deadlift, sandbag deadlift, dumbbell deadlift. Leads to kettlebell swing. If you're doing one kettlebell, your feet should be underneath your shoulders because that's how wide apart your feet are when you walk. And you should work on kettlebell swing program forever. Kettlebell swing leads to kettlebell clean and press. Then we practice something like heavy club, inside circle, outside circle, shield cast. We work on our neutral position so that we can then work on our stagger stance position so that we can work on our spinal alignment and knee load positions so we can start to build it into dynamic movement. You are never done with deadlifts. You are never done with kettlebell swings, and you are never done with this swing pattern in particular. If you have a bad leg like I do, you are constantly going back and making sure that you're not shifting to your good side. Key points on this one: straight ahead, thumb up, thumb down, absorb. You need to have the mobility to accomplish this task. In order to make sure you have the mobility, we're gonna go down into our shin box position. Think of this as a forced staggered stance, using ground to tell us if we're in the right spot, and elbow goes to knee. And then arm goes through. Our goal is to get our shoulder to our knee. Lay down, down, down. If you practice heavy deadlifts, this should be the cool down of every deadlift session. 2 minutes on each side. If one side sucks, then spend a little bit more time cooling down that side. You should do this after your swing program, your clean and press program, your snatch program. Your goal is to get this mobility and then learn how to load it in a walking pattern. If you cannot walk well, then you need to be walking better. Trying to stack athleticism on top of an inability to walk tends not to work very well. Your goal is to walk better so you can run better, so you can jump better, so you can get over barriers better, and then to use relevant weights to whatever you need to do.